Alright, so I've got a bunch of, I just finished loading up a whole bunch of 223, so I'm going to kind of go over what I do to package it up and either store it long term, or I do something different if I'm just going to store it and go shoot it, if it's only going to be out a few weeks. So the first thing I do is this is the about 200 rounds that I just took off of that I just finished up on the press. And what I do is I like to inspect it. So I dump it out on a nice clean pad here, and I kind of look through it. I look to see if there's any powder in there, and I know why there's powder in this batch, but you can see a couple flakes on some of this. I didn't prime one of the rounds, and then when it fell in, the powder starts coming out the flash hole. So I know why there's some powder in here, but what I like to do, I don't know if that's where all this came from, so I always do a nice inspection on them. If I'm going to be putting it away for long-term storage, which is kind of, I don't want to call it my prepper stash, but stuff that I'm going to put away for more of an emergency basis, I case gauge every single round that I'm putting away that way to make sure that it fits. And then that way I make sure that the primer is good in every round, and that gives me another chance to look at the neck on it to make sure there's no cracks on the neck. So by the time I've put my ammo away, it's been inspected multiple times. So I pick the brass up at the range. That's where I get most of my brass. I pick it up. So I kind of inspect it then. I bring it back and I clean it. Kind of gets inspected then. And then I size it and decap it. Gets inspected then. Then I swage it. So I've handled it again. And then right before I put it in the press to load it, I've picked it up and looked at it again, and then when I'm all done, I'm looking at it again. The only thing that I've ever really caught at this stage that I didn't catch along the way someplace else is a neck that's been stretched out or cracked, and it's hard to see that in other stages, but once you put a bullet in there, it's a little easier to see that. So I do this, kind of look through everything, and then it's still got case lube on it, and the case lube's kind of gummy, so I use Spray Clean, the green can, which is the non-chlorinated. There's also a red can and another color can. I wouldn't use anything other than the non-chlorinated on this. And basically all I do, little spray on there, kind of rub it around. And then one more time. And then do it again. And then I let it sit for a while and dry off, let all that dry. And it only takes a couple minutes for that to dry off. But these are one of those nice microfiber cloths. That's what I usually do it on. And then if I'm going to do short-term storage, I just store it in like totes like these with the top on them. And then I label what I got in there, and usually I put a date on the long-term storage stuff, but this is short-term, so I don't usually date these because I'll probably shoot this up in the next couple weeks. So this is going to be short-term stuff, so I'm going to put it away, basically like this when I'm done. And then when I'm doing long-term storage, I put it in an ammo can, and then I put a decadent humidity indicator in there, and make sure that that way I make sure that any moisture that is in there is getting sucked up and not going to ruin my ammo. So basically I just make sure that the seal around the edge is good, put the ammo in there, put my little packet in there, and I close it up. When I store 223, and I label everything too, when I store 223 I put 510 rounds in each case, and that is 17 30 round PMags worth of ammo in this case. And then this will be one of my long-term storage things, and I'll put this away. So that's kind of how I store my ammo.